she's telepathically picking up information from you out of your mind about Uncle Harry. And then you're fascinated that suddenly that she knows what Uncle Harry looks like or what Uncle Harry says, and she may remark something that you'll say, oh, gee, that's just how Uncle Harry talked, or that's what he always said. So you think that somehow that they're in touch with Uncle Harry when they're not. To begin with, Uncle Harry in the fine matter world probably doesn't give a hill of beans about being in contact with anybody. And if he actually felt something telepathic from a psychic, probably wouldn't even respond or do anything about it. The other comment was that occasionally people do make contact with spirits, even trying to trap them, get their voices on tape. And the Plejadians remarked that quite often that a spirit, once it's on the other side, doesn't even want to be contacted. And if it is, usually will regard it as kind of a nuisance and will give disinformation or treat it as a joke or will say something kind of silly anyway. So it's not really recommended. The other view was the fact that since the spirit is in the fine matter world on purpose in order to sleep and cogitate and kind of, recuperate a little bit from the material life, that it's not a good idea to even disturb the spirit. They don't. On a Pleiadian world, it's considered just not a good idea to even disturb the spirits, and they don't do it. They just leave them alone. Well, this leads us into the next topic of kind of interest, which is reincarnation. By the way, the word reincarnation and incarnation are the same thing. They both come from Greek words, and they mean exactly the same. Now, let's say the spirit has been on the fine matter side of the world for a period of time, and it's time to come back. Well, how do we know, or how does the spirit know when it is time to come back? Well, there are a few determining factors that determine when a spirit can come back. To begin with, when you're in the fine matter world on the other side, there is no time. You are no longer in the coarse matter world, which is affected by the time impulses. The wave of energy that we call time that moves through, it only affects the coarse matter world. So when you are in the fine matter world, there is no feeling of time. There's no sensation of it. A spirit could stay on the fine matter side for thousands of years and really not be aware of it. It's not like they're awake, standing on one foot or the other, just waiting to get back into the material side. So you don't have to worry about being stuck over there. What does happen, though, is this. Normally, on a planet like Earth, where we have such a high population, when someone passes over into the fine matter world, normally the average turnaround time, the Pleiadians call it, before they will come back into the material life, is on an average of 152 years. That means if you live a long and normal and healthy life to fulfill your lifespan, that you will come back in approximately 152 years. And then you would re-enter the window of opportunity, they call it, and come back into life in someone else, generally within the family. Now, that time span can be altered somewhat. And here's how it works. If you have a shortened life, maybe you die from an accident, young child, 10 years old, is in a car accident and dies, they will come back faster. The longer you live and the more you learn, the more you contribute to your spiritual growth, the slower you come back. The shorter you live, the less you learn, the faster you come back. You have no say-so in this. It's part of the mechanism of creation, which tends to balance things out. So people who live a long period of time, if they live to be 90 or 100 years old and have had a really good life, they probably wouldn't live that long anyway unless they were basically well-balanced, happy people. So they're probably going to come back slower, 150, 170 years. If someone, however, you hear of a young child dying at birth or a 1-year-old, they may be back very quickly. Generally not less than 15 years normally. However, there's an exception to that rule. Apparently, every 25,860 years, when the Earth moves in closer in proximity to the central sun, which it is just now and has been since 1937, we call this the New Age, is the general jargon or term to call it. But there is a step up in frequency and electrical radiations, apparently, that influence several factors in our life. And rebirth is one of them. And there is a tendency, I'm told, that for rebirth to be faster during this time period. So it's quite possible even that a young child, say it should die at birth or perhaps from abortion or something, that they would be back very quickly, possibly right away within a few days, weeks, or months, something like that. When it's time for a spirit to come back into the material world, it's a natural process of creation. The spirit really doesn't decide what time it's coming back. What happens is when it's ready to come back, and has something to do with like waking up in the morning when you're just ready to wake up, when it's ready to come back, creation will provide the mechanism by which it happens, and there's a natural tendency for that spirit to come back within family. The first priority apparently is usually level of evolution, that the spirit will try to come back into a woman equal in level of evolution. It will try to stay within family. Quite often your great Aunt Harry may have been someone else's aunt, have been someone's uncle or something like that. You can change gender from lifetime to lifetime. Creation doesn't do that. People do it kind of subconsciously. How that works is this way, that there is kind of a programming that's done subconsciously in the individual. If you are living a life as a male and wish to come back as a male, it doesn't take any more than thinking that. You literally program your subconscious for wanting to be a male in the next lifetime, and it will be. It's not decided by the mother. It's decided by the spirit itself. If you are apparently unresolved on the issue and really don't even think about it or care, however your subconscious will, it may kind of go either way. So you have some choice in that. There is some programming involved there. If you go through lifetime and are confused about your male role or your female role, which some people are, perhaps they go through life and they're having a terrible time with their love life and their sex life, emotionally they're upset, and they just are totally out of balance, and they go and they die, and they are confused about themselves and about their sexuality and so forth, then they will come back pretty much the same way. When they come into life, there is no programming. They come back in slightly confused, and depending upon environment, they may continue to be confused, and this is what leads to homosexuality. Homosexuality is not a third sex. It's not something we should be developing in our society and giving rights to it. It is a confusion of spirit in the fine matter world. And once we understand more about that, we can help people when they have confusion of spirit by helping them find out what they're doing, what they're thinking, and help these people find themselves, gender-wise. The Indians were always good at that. They would teach the young men to be more male and to understand their male hormones and their male attitudes and, come with me, son, and do this and so forth. Now, I realize it's probably not quite as simple as that, but that's the general idea about what confusion of spirit can cause. By the way, when there is a conceptual act by a male and a female, within 3 weeks' time, right at about 3 weeks, is when the spirit makes the decision whether or not it's going to come into the mother. Okay? So it's within 3 weeks, although the mother's not aware of it. But that's when the spirit makes a decision whether or not to attach itself to the woman in this window of opportunity. The woman becomes pregnant and provides a window of opportunity for a spirit to come in. It will within the 3rd week, and then it attaches itself to them. At that point, the spirit has decided that it will be born in this woman. So on a Pleiadian world, the morality of abortion then, the issue would be that there can be no abortions after 3 weeks because the decision has been made that there is an individual then attempting to come into life at that point. On their world, however, they benefit from greater spiritual and creational knowledge, and many of their people have the ability then to telepathically communicate with the spirit coming in to see who it was, any problems they may have. Did their last life end in trauma? Are they bringing some confusion with them? What path are they on? Are they needing some sort of special knowledge? And they can actually sense the feelings and experience that are in these beings, read their past lives, and see what they need to learn when they're coming into the new one. In other words, they treat each newborn baby as a person that's on path of discovery, that's on a particular path of searching and knowledge, and they facilitate that. What a marvelous idea. Now, in our world, we look at children as possessions.